In February 1959, deep in the frozen wilderness of Russia's Ural Mountains, rescuers found a tent. It had been cut open from the inside. Outside, scattered across the snow, lay the bodies of 9 experienced hikers. Some were almost naked in temperatures of -30. Some had skulls and ribs crushed by a force investigators later compared to a car crash. One was missing her tongue. For 60 years, no one could fully explain what happened that night. This is the Dyatlov Pass incident. On January 23rd, 1959, 10 young hikers boarded a train out of the city of Sverdlovsk. Most were students at the Ural Polytechnic Institute. Tough, athletic, experienced skiers in their early 20s. To pass the time, one of them played a mandolin. They hid under the seats to dodge the conductor and avoid paying full fare. By every account, morale was high. Their leader was 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, a gifted engineering student the group trusted completely. He'd planned a grueling 16-day, 190-mile round trip to the summit of Gora Otorten, deep in the northern Urals, a route classified at the highest difficulty grade possible that season. 5 days in, one hiker, Yuri Yudin, was forced to turn back with crippling knee and joint pain. It was the decision that saved his life. He would spend the rest of his own life as the only person who could say goodbye to his friends and watch them walk away. The remaining 9 pushed on into the mountains and into history.
Their diaries and cameras, recovered later, paint the last days in surprising detail. The hikers wrote about the cold, joked with each other, took photographs of the snow-covered ridgelines. On February 1st, a sudden storm cut visibility to almost nothing. Disoriented, the group drifted off course, climbing higher than planned onto the slope of a mountain the local Mansi people called Kholat Syakhl, translated, ominously, as Dead Mountain. Rather than lose the elevation they'd fought for by retreating to the shelter of the tree line below, Dyatlov made a fateful call. Set up camp right there, on the open, exposed slope. It was the last decision anyone would ever know him to make. When the group missed their planned check-in date with their sports club, no one panicked right away. Delays were common on routes this remote. But as the days passed with no word, alarm turned to dread, and a search and rescue effort was finally launched. What the searchers found made no sense. On February 26th, search teams reached the slope and found the tent, half collapsed under snow, sliced open from the inside with a knife. Inside, the hikers' belongings were untouched. Boots lined up, warm coats folded, food sliced and ready to eat. Something had made 9 experienced winter hikers abandon their shelter in sub-zero cold in the middle of the night without their boots. Footprints in the snow, some in just socks, some completely barefoot, led down the slope toward a tree line over a kilometer away. There, beneath a tall cedar tree, rescuers found the first 2 bodies, Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivanishko, stripped down to their underwear beside the dying embers of a small fire. Krivanishko had 3rd-degree burns on his hands and a piece of his own flesh bitten from his knuckle, possibly an attempt to stay conscious or to stop himself from crying out. Branches were broken high up the cedar, as if someone had climbed it, perhaps trying to see something or someone in the darkness below. 3 more bodies, including Dyatlov himself, were found scattered between the cedar and the tent, in positions that suggested they were trying to fight their way back to camp when they died. It would take until May, when the spring snow finally melted, to find the last 4 members of the group.
What investigators discovered in those final 4 bodies turned a tragic accident into an enduring mystery. 2 of them, Nikolai Thibeaux-Brignol and Semyon Zolotaryov, had skulls and chests fractured by immense force. A third, Ludmila Dubinina, had crushed ribs and was missing both her eyes and her tongue. The medical examiner stated the chest injuries were comparable to being struck by a moving car. And yet, there was no external trauma. No bruising consistent with a fall. No sign of a weapon, an animal, or a struggle. Stranger still, some of the recovered clothing tested positive for unusual levels of radioactivity. It later emerged that one of the hikers, Zolotaryov, had connections to the area near the Kishtim disaster, a secret nuclear accident 2 years earlier that the Soviet government had never publicly acknowledged. The official investigation, completed in May 1959, offered only a single vague phrase to explain it all: a compelling natural force. Then, the case was sealed, and the files vanished into a secret archive for decades.
For 60 years, that silence fed every theory imaginable. Some pointed to Soviet secret weapons testing in the area, and a government cover-up to match. Others suspected infrasound, a low-frequency vibration, possibly from wind moving across the mountain's shape, capable of triggering pure, irrational panic in anyone exposed to it. Some even pointed to local legends of attacks by a Yeti-like creature in the Urals. The radiation traces only deepened the suspicion that Moscow was hiding something. And the mystery gained another bizarre layer when a separate group of hikers, camped 50 kilometers south that same night, reported strange glowing orange spheres drifting across the northern sky. Similar lights were reported by independent witnesses, including meteorologists and the military, for weeks afterward, all across the region. None of this made it into the original 1959 report. For decades, the Dyatlov case became something like Russia's own Roswell, equal parts genuine tragedy and Cold War folklore, retold in books, documentaries, and campfire stories across the world.
In 2021, Swiss scientists finally offered an answer: a rare, delayed slab avalanche, too small to leave obvious wreckage, powerful enough to crush ribs and skulls without a single bruise. It explains the panic, the injuries, the flight into the cold. It doesn't explain everything else. The past still carries Dyatlov's name. Science found the most likely answer, but on Dead Mountain, on the night of February 1st, 9 people ran into the snow without their boots. We'll never know what made them.